Hi everybody, this is Book-S Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a Halloween review on the X-Files Mulder and Scully figures from Mcfarlane Toys. So before we take a look at Scully, let's take a look at Mulder and his accessories. So first up, he comes with a flashlight that is severely warped, and it's a hard type of plastic, so it'd probably need boiled in some water to fix it back. But it's pretty plain. It's just cast in black and just has a little bit of blue painted over it. And you can fit it in his left hand like so. Now for Mulder and Scully, they both come with trigger fingers and open hands. So I don't know if they were originally going to include them with guns or not. But, you know, it kind of looks funny. And for his next accessory is, I don't really know if you'd call it an accessory. It's kind of a whole nother figure, but he comes with half of this pod, and it looks really nice. Has some nice sculpting and paint detail to it. It's cast in a different kind of plastic too. It has that speckling throughout. And then let me move Mulder back there. And then it opens up and has this pod person in it. And it looks really nice. Let me attach it right there. Now it is super sticky because it's made of this rubber. It has plastic guts and then has a rubber casing for the skin. And on the inside it has bones and all the organs and stuff. And the veins are painted on. And a little bit of the face is painted on, as you can tell. It looks pretty good. I don't know, it kind of looks out of place though, honestly. Because all the rest of the body is clear. And then the face has the white painted over it. But it looks pretty nice. It's both of these figures are 2-packs, like Mulder and Scully both come with semi-figures. They don't move, but I consider it another figure. So let me just put that back in there. And some figures, like Mulder comes with Scully's accessory and Scully comes with Mulder's accessory. So there were some running changes. So depending on what you get, different figures will come with different pieces. And this is just half of the pod. There's another pod. I think it's just a separate figure by itself. You can connect to this one and make the whole pods. I guess it's just two, but you know, it kind of looks funny just like that. But you can disconnect that piece if you want. Well, I probably won't do that now, because once you put it on there, it looks like it's not meant to come off, so that is his accessory, and I'll set that back there. So now let's take a look at the head sculpt. So for the head sculpt of Mulder, looks very much like David Duchovny. Mcfarlane Toys has always been really good with their sculpting. Even back then, the sculpting was really nice, and it's only gotten better. So there has a little bit of texturing to it, as well as wash over it. Now, the articulation is pretty odd on this figure. Like, from his waist down, he has no articulation. So, that does hinder him standing a little bit. If you have him on a completely level surface, he'll stand. But if it's the least bit uneven, he'll just fall over because he doesn't have any articulation in his legs. But his weight is pretty evenly distributed, since his arms are kind of in the same pose. Now, with Scully, she doesn't want to stand at all. I had her leaning against him in the beginning of the video. And he has a little bit of texturing on his suit. And if you look real close, it has his portrait on his FBI badge there. It's not great, it's kind of pixely, but I think that's a nice little detail. And that's about all to go over with this figure, especially since he doesn't have any articulation from his waist down. So for his articulation, he has a swivel neck. His head doesn't even actually have any articulation, it's just his neck. He has swivel arms, or swivel shoulders, and then swivel at the wrist. And for his left arm, he has a swivel elbow, which is kind of odd that his right arm didn't have any, but his left arm does. So he does have a swivel at the elbow. And then a swivel at the waist, which really can't move too far, because if you move it any farther than that, it'll crack his suit apart right here. And it's not actually his suit, that's his whole torso. It's just glued together right there. So if you try to force it, it will crack, because I tried to... It wasn't moving. I didn't know that it just barely swiveled like that. And when I tried to move it, I heard a crack. And it started splitting apart right here. So that's where he's molded together. So don't move him that much. You really don't need to move that swivel waist anyway. So now, let's take a look at Scully and all of her accessories. So first up, she comes with her cell phone. And it looks pretty good. It has sculpting detail to it, but it doesn't have a lot of paint detail. If it had a little more paint detail, that'd be nice. Now, she really can't hold her accessory at all. So, and she's kind of posed really, really weirdly. So, that's another reason why she can't stand, is the lack of articulation. And she's in a really, really weird pose. Like, I don't even know what this pose is. But her hand is pretty much open, so she can just barely grip the cell phone here. A certain way you'll put it, it'll stay for just a little bit, but her hand is really open, so you can't really get her holding it forever. So I'm sure during the course of this review that it'll fall out of her hand. So for her other accessory, or other figure, I guess you would call it, she comes with this body that's wrapped in a sheet. Now, it does have sculpting and paint detail to it underneath this sheet, but I think this is like 20 years old, so that the paint they used is sticking to the sheet here, because it's real fabric. I was going to take the sheet off, but then I started hearing it making a ripping noise because the paint stuck to it. So you'll probably just want to leave this here, because if you'll try to take it off, then the sheet will just rip. And she also comes with a stretcher here. And it actually looks really awesome. It's got some sculpting detail to it, and texturing. And it's cast in that. There's a little bit of marbling in that silver there. But it lowers and raises. And you can put the body on it there. And surprisingly enough, it actually stays up. I figured it would fall. But, nope, it actually stays up. The wheels don't work. They're just sculpted that way. They're not actual wheels. They're just sculpted on there. So, it doesn't move. That's another plus. But overall, it looks really nice. So let's go ahead and set that back there. Now let's take a look at her head sculpt. Now for her head sculpt, it looks like Gillian Anderson. But both of these have really great likenesses. I think a little bit of the flesh tone there bled over into her hair, but, you know, doesn't bother me that much. It's pretty much a simple fix. She has a little bit of a wash over her hair, too. But there is black right there in her hair, like just a patch of black. Probably take some nail polish remover to that and get that off there. And her necklace is sculpted on and painted on. She also has her FBI badge there. I think that it looks a little bit better, the portrait there. It's still not the greatest, but I think it looks better than Mulder's does. And her suit has a little bit of texturing to it as well. And again, she has a trigger finger, so it's almost like they were going to include guns with them, but didn't. And her shoes look nice, but then you get to her feet and they're a completely different tone. I know that they had to paint that on because it's the skin tone painted over top of the black, but I don't think it looks that great. It's a way darker skin tone than up here. So that's bothersome. And her pose, because her leg is bent outward. And she's holding her hand right there, just in midair. I don't know. If you put her arm the way it's supposed to be, it looks like her arm just got broken. So the pose is not great at all. I think there was a second one of her made, and she was in like winter gear, and it looks like it has better posing. But this one was very weirdly posed. So she just about fell over there. I suppose if you get her on a flat surface, she might stand as well, but it is pretty tricky to get her to stand because of that pose. So now let's go over her articulation. She has swivel neck just like Mulder. They can move side to side. She has swivel shoulders. She has swivel wrist on both hands, or on both arms. And then she has swivel elbow, which is weird because you really can't do anything with her. Because then if you do that, then it's really going to look like her arm just got broken. I thought maybe it was so you could do that, but even then that looks really weird. And then she has swivel at the waist here that can move side to side. Now you can move all the way around. There's no, like, it's not like Mulder, and she's not cast in that so that when you move her it'll crack. So that's all the articulation for her. I feel like they could have used a little more articulation, at least maybe swivel hips or something. And I really think that she could have been in a better pose, because if you put her on the way it's supposed to be, then she looks like her arm just got broke. So now for size comparisons, these are the only two X-Files figures I have, but here they are next to each other. And I think the height difference is pretty good. Let me fix her arm there. That way it doesn't look broken. So there she is next to Mulder. And overall, I like these figures. Both of the figures are really awesome. I just feel like they lack some articulation, but then again, these figures are 20 years old, so the articulation is significantly less than what it is today. And the accessories are pretty awesome. They're kind of figures in themselves, especially the pod guy. And then the thing wrapped in the sheet on the stretcher. That's kind of a figure in itself. The accessories are really awesome with this set. Like I said, that's another really awesome part of these. So, I would highly recommend them. So, that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Happy Halloween.